Yeah, I mean, engineering teams are always going to be the ones that are most difficult to get to switch from like that task mindset to like just an overall outcome mindset. Just because they're used to saying like, okay, I've got my list of tickets that I need to get through. I get through them and then we call it a day, right? So it's always going to be a little bit tricky. I think it comes down to like what you want as far as company culture. So there's a lot of different ways that we see folks go about rolling out OKRs throughout their organizations. Some people stick to just like the business side of the house, where we don't worry too much about the engineer. That we're just going to sort of let them go and do their own thing, just because their work is generally geared towards an overall business outcome. We need new features that we can go out and sell. If we don't get those new features, then we can't really sell them. That's the metric that I care most about pushing forward. So it comes down to like, are we going to be able to get them on board? And are they going to be able to think in a way that is going to be driven towards that overall outcome versus their specific tasks that they're doing? I have seen orgs that do full org rollouts and have been successful with it. They get their engineering team to think a little bit more about, guiding what metrics they can focus on and how they're going to be able to keep everything moving in a big North Star business direction. There's usually just like, we care about uptime for our engineers. We care about, number of pull requests that we can get out. We care about, getting new features delivered. It can be a little bit of an exercise and just sort of having them just think about the work that they're doing and not in the tasks, but in the, like, what is the point of all of this? That can be really useful. I've also seen orgs that just cut the engineering team out entirely because they're not sort of grasping onto it as much, and find out that, we really don't need the engineering team to be part of this. They should still know about it. We're still going to talk about it to everyone so we know what the big priorities for the organization are. But we know that this just isn't the audience that's going to really grok it or really want to grasp it and change the way that they're thinking about how they're approaching goals. Overall, like, who are we trying to get on to use stability, or who are we trying to get to have an active part in OKRs? I see that getting more people on it, and this is, not the salesy, like, hey, we want you to have as many people on here so we get your bill as high as possible, right? But just when you have more people active in the process and setting their own goals and sort of working at that team level, not only do you have more people excited about these sort of foundational goals and understanding what their roles are for them from a, SDR, and I'm tasked with going out and getting 3 new leads. That's one thing. If I can understand that, if I can convert one of those leads to a bigger contract, I know that that's something that we're really pushing for. I can feel like I did my part to it. So it can act as like a really nice way of just getting everyone really involved with those North Star metrics that you're tracking anyway, and understanding what their part is in. The second piece of having, more hands, maybe not every single person in the organization, but just a few more people down than just like a leadership team, is that you get more of the information from the folks on the ground that have a little bit more context about whether you're going to be able to hit those goals by the end of the quarter. So, they're going to be able to say, hey, I know if I'm a, team lead or a team manager, I know I've got 2 people out on time off for the holiday, so I'm not going to be able to have my full team here. It's going to delay our ability to release this new project. That means that I don't think we're going to be able to hit this by the end of the quarter unless we make some changes. Same thing with, I know we had just a big P0, and even though that's not reflected in how we've progressed on this project, that took us all the way for X amount of time. So it gives me just a little bit more to talk about. So the closer we get to the work on the ground, just that more context that we're going to be able to understand, that we might lose with multiple layers of, our VP of engineering might not know about the day-to-day operations on the ground. That might change with business size. So when you're still a little bit smaller, it's easier to understand what's going on, right? But then as you scale and as you grow, it turns into something where just having that extra layer of people just makes it a little bit more tricky to really understand, are we going to be able to hit this goal?